Mercer, Eric Harris, Dylan Klebold, Sandy Hook Elementary School, Columbine High School, Umpqua Community College in Oregon. If any of these words or names sound familiar to you, it's because they are the shooters and the scenes of the shootings in some of the most recent school shootings and the most violent. In each of these 3 shootings, a total of 51 people were killed, including many youth and children. In every one of these cases, and in many other cases of violence, the perpetrator was addicted or obsessed with violent video games. There is a direct link with violence in the media to violence in the real world. In our society, we are living on a constant diet of violence. Some might even say we are living in a war zone. Even those of us who don't go seek it out are affected. Televised violence is so prevalent that it is estimated that the average high school student has already witnessed 18,000 murders by graduation. Those in any kind of media industry will tell you that media violence is in no way connected to real-life violence. They are wrong. Here are a few more statistics. The percentage of violent crimes in America have been about the same for the past 10 years, but violent crimes among youth are on the rise. Out of the top 10 video games played by boys, 5 of them are considered violent, with Grand Theft Auto coming in at number 1. For girls, 3 of them are considered violent, with Grand Theft Auto coming in at number 2. If you're not familiar with the video game Grand Theft Auto, I'll read the label to you. Rated M for mature. Blood and gore, intense violence, strong language, strong sexual content, use of drugs. In this game, players play as hardened criminals and accost innocent civilians using a variety of weapons and even rape. How can these things not affect those that are engaging in them? Don't just take my word for it. Here are some of the things experts are saying. Dr. Richard B. Klein, at an address at the Tidewater Assembly for Family Life, said, "I am convinced by a vast amount of research that the images, fantasies, and models which we are repeatedly exposed to in advertisements, entertainment, novels, motion pictures, and other works of art can and do affect the self-image and later the behavior of nearly all young people and adults too." And the American Academy of Pediatrics warns, exposure to violent media, including violent video games, can contribute to real-life violent behavior and harm children in other ways. Does violence cause us to be more violent? Studies show that it may not turn the average person into a gun-wielding maniac, but they do show that it increases aggression in the average person, and that it could be the tipping point for those who are already predisposed to aggression or violence. A study done by Christopher Bartlett of the University of Iowa makes this point. They had 47 undergraduates play Mortal Kombat for 15 minutes. They also had the same number of students play nonviolent video games for the same amount of time. Afterward, the team took various measures of arousal, both physical and psychological. It also tested whether the students would behave more aggressively by having them dole out hot sauce to a fellow student who they were told that did not like spicy food but must swallow the sauce. Sure enough, compared with the group that had played the nonviolent games, those who had played Mortal Kombat were more aggressive across the board. They gave their fellow students significantly bigger portions of the hot sauce. One of the biggest myths concerning media violence is this one: it doesn't affect me. This isn't true. It does affect us as human beings. It psychologically impacts the brain in several ways. First of all, it's addictive. It's desensitizing. It can destroy our natural sympathy and empathy centers in our brain, causing us to feel less concern for others and for their pain. There are spiritual consequences for media violence as well. Prophets and apostles have been warning of this for over 40 years. In 1971, Elder Marvin J. Ashton said, "A constant diet of violence or pornography dulls the senses, and future exposures need to be rougher and more extreme. Soon the person is desensitized and is unable to react in a sensitive, caring, responsible manner, especially to those in his own home and family. Good people can be infested with this material, and it can have terrifying, destructive consequences." In For the Strength of the Youth Handbook, it specifically states, "Depictions of violence often glamorize vicious behavior. They offend the spirit and make you less able to respond to others in a sensitive, caring way. They contradict the Savior's message of love for one another." Elder Ballard also points out, Nephi predicted that in our day, Satan would rage in the hearts of the children of men and stir them up to anger against that which is good. Satan's evil use of television contributes to the increased wickedness in our society. Is this issue of violence bigger than us? Is there anything we can do to protect ourselves, our homes, and our families? and our societies? The answer is yes. Elder Ballard gives us great counsel. He says, perhaps the proper response to outrageous behavior is outrage, or more to the point, the proper response to outrageous television is outrage. I express my own and this church's disappointment, disagreement, and even outrage with television that turns our attention and sometimes our inclinations toward violence, self-serving greed, profanity, traditional values, and deviance. Elder Ballard goes on to say, we need to keep things that offend and debase out of our homes. We each need to help solve this problem rather than to avoid it. Here are 5 concrete ways that we can begin to fight back against the onslaught of violence. Number 1, become educated. Read things about violence based on scientific research rather than opinion. Number 2, monitor the content of the programs that your children watch and be vigilant about what kinds of media is brought into your home. Number 3, limit the amount of time that your children watch TV or play video games. Number 4, maybe the most important one, set a good example. Get these things out of your own life. Refuse to become part of the problem, be part of the solution. Let your kids see you do it. Number 5, contact organizations and complain. I recently had a friend make a complaint about a movie, and they sent it right on to the producers. Let me repeat Nephi's contradiction from almost 3,000 years ago. Keep in mind he was prophesying about our very day. For behold, at that day he shall rage in the hearts of the children of men and stir them up to anger against that which is good. I'll also add insight from D&C 10:27. And thus he goeth up and down, to and fro, in the earth, seeking to destroy the souls of men. Satan can only destroy us if we let him. Will you commit to do one of these 5 things today in your own family? Become educated. Monitor the content coming into your home. Limit time spent on media. Set a good example. Contact an organization. We can all make a difference in our own homes, families, and our society. A poem I like says, all the water in the world, no matter how it tried, could never sink the smallest ship unless it got inside. All the evil in the world and every kind of sin could never damn a human soul unless we let it in.